Hey, welcome back to Left 4 Dead Garage, episode 2 or video 2 on the 49 Chevy truck build. I am going to address the back half of it this time as far as the bed goes. Kind of got this sort of figured out. So on a regular cab long bed chassis, 5 inches must come off the frame rail right here. So just lock 5 inches smooth off of that. And this bed has got some farmer fab going on, and I don't really know. I mean, I'm pretty known for not making stuff square, but I don't really know what happened there. So I'm actually going to leave this one for the time being. This one has to leave, and the two middle ones I will leave, and we'll worry about that front one once we get the back situated. And those holes there, the original bed mount holes, that's what we'll work off of. Alright, so we have a whole new set of bed cross rails or seal rails. What is a cross seal? That's the official name of this. So the way this is going to work, probably should use the tripod. So clearly, you know, those go across. And we have this piece here, as well as this guy here. So this is designed to sit down on top of that rail, about right in there. So those slots line up with those holes, and then that's how you get your adjustment, your height adjustment, by these two pieces here. So, and this guy I will actually notch and put in like this. So I'll have to cut out a section, and this will get welded to that angle. Pretty sure that's how it works. So I gotta do some first of all, I'm gonna cut 5 inches off this rail. I might use this Sawzall, but I got the plasma cutter out because I was gonna plasma these custom cross braces, because they're pretty well, I mean, that's just it's a lot of weld to try to Sawzall through. And so I got, I mean, as long as I'm square here and here, and then, so I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Plasma will be quicker, so more than likely we'll just use the plasma cutter. So let me and when I plug the plasma up, I got a massive air leak on the fitting, so, and I'm sure you don't want to hear that, but I'll show you what I'm doing before I cut it, when I get it all laid out. Alright, I got this laid out. I'm going to show you my method of doing this. Alright, I have a Hypertherm plasma cutter, and with this drag tip, you can see the, I guess you can see like a cross hat, you know, up and down, left and right, some grooves cut in that. So I know that is my hold off for the dead middle of the tip. So what I do is, I've probably covered this before, but I have several, I bought some flat bar, some I think it's 1/4 inch thick flat bar, and I got it in several lengths. So what I use that for is a guide. So once I know, hopefully you can see this, so I just kind of visualize that groove and that drag tip, and I know that's my standoff. I think it's a 1/2 inch, something like that. So just bump the tip up against beside it, and you're straight, and you know where you need to be. And I'll just move this down, and then I'll just vice grip clamp it right here and along the bottom, and we'll know we'll have the right amount cut, and it'll be pretty straight. It'd be nice if I had some of these done at 90-degree deals. That way I could just lay it on there kind of like a deal, and I could run down this side and straight down this face, and it would all be cut together. But it should be okay. Any slag or whatever, I can always just clean up with the grinder. let's get some cutting done. Yeah, I know, safety glasses. And that's how I do it. Now I'll just go in there and slick this up, clean these edges up, and repeat it on that side. So I'm gonna knock this side out, I'm gonna get this cleaned up, and we'll get on this bed. All right, so on these new bed cross rails, cross seals, whatever they're called, it says cut 1/4 inch off of each end. So scribe me a 1/4 inch line. I'll just take the Sawzall and we'll lop this 1/4 inch off. And the reason that you take that 1/4 inch off is because you're adding this. And it's not exactly a 1/4, but by the time you figure in a radius and the fit of this guy, you need some left and right room. The only thing I'm going to have to guess at or fudge at is with this 118 inch wheelbase, regular cab long bed, you have to add a 1/2 inch, you have to add 1 inch extra gap between the bed and the cab to center the wheel well, to center the wheel in the fender. Now if you cut down an extended cab short bed, then it'll be right. And if you lengthen a regular cab short bed, it'll be right as well, because you're either shortening or lengthening. We are not moving the wheelbase on this. So I have to fudge 1 inch. I don't know if you can tell, but it does look like the bed needs to come back. So the only problem I see with that is this bed does not have the cross seals still in it as it was from the factory. Now it may have been close with those ones I cut out, but we don't know because you see how crooked the rest of them are. I also can't go off the front mounts because they're not there anymore. So my plan is I'm just going to center the bed, square the bed, and we'll mark it and cut it. If I gotta go fudge it either way, front or back, then we'll modify it in this angle that runs the perimeter of the bed. So, not a big fan of that, but it's the best we can do. So, I'm gonna cut this guy back here, and we'll start marking this stuff up before I go to chopping and welding, because you gotta weld that one mount to that angle. All right, I'm gonna have to do a little research on this, because as I was saying, he wants you to fudge the bed back 1 inch to the center of the wheel well. Well, I was like, don't these running boards meet the bed, the fenders, and then feel like I've got the bed back about 1 inch too far now. I've got the running boards clamped on underneath, and then I got this jack stand kind of keeping it from jiggling. But you can see the bed gap, and then I've got the running board gap. So that's supposed to be, and you can see where it's got a little witness mark, and then I don't know if you can see that little witness mark in there. It's full of body filler, but there's a almost looks like a grind mark, but it's from this, and then you can kind of see the rust stains. But this is supposed to be all the way up to it, up through there. How can I fudge the bed and fudge the running board? Because the front running board, the front part of the running board should meet the front fender. And then I got to thinking, well, I'm doing air ride on this thing, and it's not a 4-link. I think it's a wishbone type deal. So I could move the rear end forward 1 inch if I have to. I can fudge that. I don't know. I got to do some thinking, do a little reading. Because I really don't know what 4-link kit he's got coming. It's supposed to be in here today, but I don't know how much came. I really like to look at that. I mean, it's only metal, right? I mean, but it also isn't mine. So I have to think about someone else seeing this and thinking, oh my God, who did this? That's my biggest fear with doing anything for anyone but myself. All right, well, let me see if I can figure this out, and I'll show you what I've come up with tomorrow.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Alrighty, obviously next day, I did some reading and some YouTube stuff to figure out what the deal is with this bed. So it's like it says in the directions, you'll fudge it by 1 inch. So the best I could tell in these other videos, you continue with the matchup on the bed fender. You fudge the gap at the cab and at the front fender. And one guy's video, they even did like a little filler panel right here, which makes sense. So today I'm going to notch this back piece, notch back here for this cross seal, or whatever the proper term is, and get the back centered and set down, and then we'll jump to the front and try to get it level, and then kind of get an idea on where these running boards are supposed to be. Probably just going to clamp them in place like I did this driver's side, because I don't want to make any permanent decisions until the front clip is on. Besides, I'm not too sure if this running board is supposed to sit all the way up against the bottom of that rocker or what. So still kind of guessing here. Uncharted territory. Kind of sucks when it's not yours. So a guinea pig, somebody else being the guinea pig, is not the best idea. But so let me get this back notched and this cross seal bolted down. I also have to drill holes in this because apparently it does not line up to the existing bed mounting hole. So I'm trying to center it, and hopefully it's not like a half a hole type deal, but if it is, I'll just get the big reamer out and we'll just ream the crap out of it and hope for the best. All right, got the bed. Now the bed is still up. I got a floor jack under it. The straps aren't holding it because the straps kept wanting to pull it back this way. So it does, you can't really tell where I've got it fudged an inch down here because the bed's up. But back here, this is what we've come up with. The cross seal from the edge of that cross seal to this angle each way, that's 48 inches. And from the outside of that rail to this angle iron is 43.5 both ways. So that's how we got the back squared. And then decided to come 3 inches off the inside of this shock mount to the face of this bed seal. So 3 inches here, 3 inches there. That thing should be pretty square. So I'm going to take the plasma cutter, I'm going to notch right above that seal to allow the bed to drop down, and it will allow room for the adjustable bed mounts. So that's where we at. I'm gonna get this thing cut, set it down, and I'll get back to you. All right, Thursday, kind of had to back up a punt on this thing. Got it in the air, which I should have done in the first place, but it's for the most part, it is level this way, kind of close to left or right, which I'm not all that worried about left or right. The bed gap is about where it's going to have to stay. I tried to, this was my original bed gap custom gauge there, but you see the tire and the fender are centered, and that's your main focus, because that thing will look goofy as ever with the bed forward. So there'll be a gap here, there'll be a bigger gap here because the running board still needs to slide back. I got the bed notched for the cross seal back here, starting to put the bed mounts back in up here. The bed is massively out of square, go figure. Who knows what this thing has hauled or what it's been through since 1949? 49. So ended up also, although I might have messed up, I cut more off the rear of the frame because to get this bed where it's sitting, I don't know if that seal is fabricated or what, but it was on the frame rail and it was messing us up, causing the stink bug rake deal. So the bed is leveled with the frame. I guess I probably could have checked the rocker seal here and see where it's at. But it's hard to pick a spot that you know, which I do have the back of the cab bolted down, so it could very well be throwing us off a little bit. It's not too bad off. I mean, my God, if somebody rolls up at the car show with the daggum level, then, you know, I'm in the wrong business. So I'm gonna get these front mounts tacked on, and we'll work on this front seal plate. So I'm either overthinking it or this back half of this is actually more complicated than I thought it would be. So let me get this welded up. Alrighty, this bed has not went smooth. This bed mounting system is overly engineered. After watching several YouTube videos and looking at pictures, and then Chris that owns the truck went and looked at another truck just across town, every other way of doing this is much easier than using these bed mounts. I guess I could ask the guy. I don't understand or see the need whatsoever to have all that adjustment in a truck bed. So I got the rear one in. It said cut 1.5 inches off each side of these seals. Honestly, do not use those seals, just buy tubing. Ended up having to cut 2 inches off to get everything to fit, and I still don't like it. The front, now I'm sure this 70-year-old truck bed is not square. Matter of fact, I know it's not square, but like the bed sides could be pulled in. This angle iron perimeter that runs around it could also be way jacked out. I bet I have 10 hours in this truck bed. Last night, I got down here yesterday, I got down here at 6. I worked on this thing pretty steady until about 10. So what I've come up with is these things suck. They are not square. I ended up taking the plasma cutter and taking a good 1/4 inch off each one of them to try to get clearance in these corners up here. And then I ended up taking probably 2 inches or more off that bed rail, seal rail, whatever they call it, to try to get enough room for these to fit. Still didn't have enough, so then I took a 1/4 inch off of that. Still doesn't fit well. So here's my plan. Chris is all right with this, so this is the route I'm going to go. I'm going to ditch these things. I'm going to go back in here and cut these off, and it's still going to be, you're still going to be able to unbolt the bed if need be. So this will actually weld straight to this angle iron here. These will be out of here. You know, I mean, this isn't my money. Chris bought the rails. They were 150 bucks. He bought this kit, and I don't ever want, I always fear somebody's gonna be like, oh my God, who put it together, you know? So I ended up actually going back, leveling the truck left to right, front to back. He got measurements for me, double checked from the top of the bed rail to the seal on the cab and to the top of the window seal. It's 10 inches and 16 inches. Closed the bed gap up, used my custom officially calibrated 2x4 spacer. So the running board had to come back just a touch, and we'll have a little bit of cab gap there. I can live with that gap. It's not that noticeable. The wheel is centered in the fender well. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it looks pretty good to me right there. So I'm happy with the bed placement. I got to get left to right, and that was another problem. It was so hard to get it square left to right once I drove these multiple adjusters down in there. It had me whoppy jaw. Now it wasn't far off, it was only a 1/4 inch off, but I know I could get it better than that, so that's what I want to do. So I'm going to get this bed finished today because this video has got to be edited. I've not touched a bit of editing on this video. So I'm going to get these cut out, get these welded in, and I'll jump back in here and show you what I've got done. It's just really not exciting type stuff to video and show like action, but and then I'll show you that the bed's square and level, and then I may go back over like what I should have just done. But all this stuff was already bought, so shoulda, coulda, woulda, and this is Chris's money, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to use as much stuff as he bought as I can. You know, we didn't use the inner cab mount pieces because it's kind of redundant to put all that in there. But let me get to work. All right, the bed is square to the chassis, the best of my ability. It's level, left to right, front to back. The cab to the bed to cab seam is, as you can see, pretty close to 10 inches. We're level-ish here, still level-ish here. Got that bubble pretty well, and that's the chassis. If you see it or not. So the bed still has left to right adjustment if there needs to be adjusting done. So I got them welded into this angle. The front set to where I could weld across the top, the back obviously not. Looking back, I probably should have raised those, since those front mounts were cut off anyway. Maybe I could have raised those up to match these, or maybe it's just best like that, and when he does the false floor we'll have to put a little spacer up there, which shouldn't be a big deal. But actually the false floor is probably going to be off of this with like little standoffs or something like that. I don't know. I don't do woodworking at all. I hate it. Just ask my buddy Charlie. He knows how I feel about that. So the bed's done. It's on here. Now we got to take it back off. No, not yet, but we will eventually, because you got to do the rear fore link, and I believe he said the rear fore link is a couple weeks out. Definitely gonna slow us down just a bit, but the bed's accomplished. Got a nice centered wheel well. The running board needs to scooch back just a touch. Everything looks good. That calibrated bed gap tool in there, 2x4, 1.5 inches. It's as good as I could get it. There are simpler, I feel like there are easier ways to do this, but if you ditch those other things over there, this method with the bed rails isn't so bad. All right, thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage. I guess that'll wrap up episode 2 on the 49 truck. Now I get to clean the shop and find time to go inside and jump on this video and get it ready for tomorrow. So we'll see you on the next one.